Heading into Chris Weidman's middleweight title defense this weekend, it's time for a little UFC TBT on Weidman. Welcome into this edition of MMA Live Extra. I'm Kerry Chow, joined by ESPN MMA writer Brett Okamoto from Las Vegas. Brett, let's flash back to June 11th, 2011, UFC 131, Weidman's pay-per-view debut against Jesse Bongfeldt. Now, what were your initial impressions of that fight?
Yeah, well, this was Weidman's second fight in the UFC, and I think really what it illustrated is that this guy can finish a fight at the snap of a finger, and that's something that, you know, sometimes when guys come over with the background that Weidman had, you don't always think that about them. But Weidman was coming in as a wrestler with a very strong credentials in grappling, not a lot of striking. And when that happens, you know, we tend to look at these guys as, you know, someone who can go in, out-wrestle a guy, win a fight that way, but maybe not necessarily dangerous. There's ever-present danger of finishing the fight. And Weidman showcased that he had that ability in this fight with Bongfeldt. That standing guillotine, you don't really see that too often in the UFC, and he did it so fast. I was in the building that night. I remember that the fans had a little bit of a delayed reaction just because it happened so fast. They're like, what just happened? This guy tapped. What did he tap from? How was he able to pull that off so fast? And I think that showed something in Chris Weidman's game that we didn't really know was there before.
You kind of just answered this, but how did that fight announce Weidman as a legit contender at 185?
You know, I think Weidman was being looked at as a legitimate fighter in that division anyway. I mean, this was a guy who came in with a certain amount of fanfare, a certain amount of hype. But this was just one of those tests. You know, it was one of those, like, how high is Chris Weidman's ceiling? How much does this guy have? And it was just one that he passed so well. And that would, you know, turn into be a theme, of course, for Chris Weidman, is that he would keep getting these next tier opponents, continue to finish them, continue to win, and ultimately hold the belt.
And Chris Weidman defending his belt against Vitor Belfort at UFC 187 this weekend in Las Vegas. ESPN MMA Live will be in Las Vegas for complete coverage, highlights, analysis, and interviews. Be sure to keep it on ESPN.com's MMA page. For Brett Okamoto, I'm Kerry Chow. Thanks for watching.